Uh-oh. Some people got removed. I don't know what that was about. All right, so I've been using distance learning I've been using Canvas for about 5 years. Mostly, obviously, the blended model until March when I went 100% distance learning. I belong to quite a few Facebook groups that talk about Canvas and Twitter chats, and a lot of the same questions keep coming up. So I thought I would just take an hour and talk about some of those most common questions and then answer some of the questions that you have about Canvas. So I am a Canvas advocate. I'm also on the board of Orange County Q. And I just passed my level 2 Google Educator certification. So that it wasn't that hard. It was just, I just needed to take the time to sit down and do it. But I also have the chat going in another computer next to me. So I will keep an eye on that. Yes, I will definitely share the recording. And yeah, I'm a little self-conscious recording myself, but that's okay. All right, so I want to start with a few definitions. So what I would like you to do is either on a second device or in a second window, I would like you to open up Canvas. If you have a district created Canvas account, that's great, go into that. If you don't, you can just go in and create a free Canvas account. So if everyone would do that, because I want to show you a few things, I'm going to have you play with some things as we go. I want this to be hands-on and not me just lecturing. Okay. So I'm going to start by flipping to my Canvas account, and this is my Canvas dashboard. And obviously it looks a little robust because I've been doing Canvas for a long time. Each of these tiles represents a different Canvas course. And I know there were a lot of questions about the difference between a course and a section. So last year I taught 3 sections of 7th grade math. They were all exactly the same course, exactly the same prep, exactly the same assignments. When we first moved to Canvas as a district, the district actually created 3 separate courses for me. So I had 3 tiles that were 7th grade math. Super annoying. So there is a way, if your district does that, you need to talk to them. They can create one course with those 3 sections separated within the course. And you need to talk to your district admin to set it up for you that way. If for some reason they don't, there's something called cross-listing. And I have a link to a video that'll show you how to do that. But what it'll do is it'll pull those sections into one course. So I'm going to start by just showing you, this is my 7th grade math course from last year. And I have my home page. And I saw a lot of really, really cool home pages, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I really believe in keeping it simple, okay? So my home page, I had my agenda, my weekly agenda, which I did by the week for distance learning. But before that, it was, I just literally copied off my whiteboard, right? Everything was divided into, let me just show, well, okay. Getting ahead of myself. So sections, here I have my 3 sections. This is my period 1. We're on block schedule. So my period 1, 2, that's one group of kids. My 3, 4 is another group. And my 5, 6 is another group. So I can look at all those students together, all 120 of them in one place. And yeah, our class size is up to about 40. So, or I can look at them individually. So that is something that you do need to talk to your districts when they're setting up your courses. Okay. All right. On the left-hand side in this gray bar, can you see them? Okay. This is your account menu bar. Okay. All the settings here apply to your entire account. So you can set up your notifications, you can set up your dashboard, your courses, you have access to your calendar, okay, your inbox, comments, and help. And by the way, help is amazing. I posted a question yesterday and got a response today. So but these apply to all your courses. But when you're in your course, whoops, go back. Your settings here in this white menu bar, this applies just to that specific course. So then you can modify them based on your course. Okay. All right. I go look back at my notes. So that's the difference between courses and sections. Any questions about the difference between courses and sections? Yeah, everyone should have 2 screens going, and because we're going to start playing in a moment. Okay.
Andrea, I had a question.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out why you would put 3 classes, which is 120 students, all in one group as opposed to separate them, because I know Canvas, if you make an assignment in one, let's say your first block, you can copy paste that assignment to your other 2 blocks, correct?
Right, but I don't want to have to copy and paste. That's too much work. So instead, when I assign an assignment, I can assign it, if I only want to give it to one period, I can do that within Canvas assignments, or I can assign it to all 120 at once. But when I grade the assignments, in fact, let me go ahead and take you to that. Let me take you to the grading. Let me move this over. Because I don't really want to show you kids' names, but okay, just ignore student names. I couldn't do that though. So I'm in my grades, and I can see all 120 kids at once, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's too much. But if you see up here, I can sort them. So if I only want to see one period, one group, I can just switch which group I'm looking at, okay? So I can just filter by group. Now when I'm grading, a lot of what I do is self-graded. So for me, it doesn't matter if there are 120 or if there's 10, it makes no difference because it's self-graded. But for stuff I want to grade, do I really care if I'm grading period 1 or period 3 or which period the student is in? Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. So one of the things that I can do, and let me just find an assignment that's a little more. Okay, so here's a Nearpod lesson. And I can go to what's called Speed Grader. And you can do this with any assignment that you create. And I can, oh shoot, I can't do that because it's closed. I'll betcha. I can't, okay, yeah, I can. So I can either grade all the kids together, and here's my drop down of all the kids, or up here I can sort them. So I can only look at my period 3-4 kids. And I just look at their grades, right? I can leave comments for them. And do I really care? For me, I don't care what period they're in. I do want to look at their overall, you know, the period grade, the trends in the period and the strengths and whatever. But actually just grading stuff, for me, it doesn't matter usually, okay? But I can sort them so I can look at just the period I want. But what having them all in one course saves me is the copying and making sure that I've published it, make sure I've copied all the assignments. I don't want to do double work or triple work. So I want to streamline things as much as possible. And having all my sections in one course is very streamlined. Also, if you go back to my home, if you go back to your home page, let me, okay, if you go back to your home page, there is a to-do list. Because this course is over, there's nothing on my to-do list here, but under coming up, you'll see, I wonder if I have anything. Let me look at a different course, see if there's anything on any of the to-do lists. Hang on. Yeah, there might be here. So, nope, I guess I've got nothing to do. But you'll get a list here. It'll say to do, and it'll tell you what to grade. Okay, what you have waiting, assignments that are going to be due, and if you have any work to be graded. So for me, I feel like it really saves time. I did start the first year with all separate courses, and I would inevitably forget to copy something or forget to publish something. And So this is much easier. Okay, that was a long answer for a short question. Other questions? Yes, if you build a course on a free account, what you're going to need to do is you'll have to export that course, and there is an export button. And then when your district creates your accounts, you can import it. So yes, you can definitely do that. And I would certainly suggest you start playing now. Canvas is not that intuitive, I'll be honest with you, but it is super robust. Anything you want to do that you've done in Google Classroom or that you've done just shooting kids a link, you'll be able to do it here. Should the link to merge courses? Yes, I have a bunch of resources I will share at the end of this presentation, and there is a video on how to cross-listing, how to do that. Okay.
And can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So I couldn't tell by your classes or courses, I guess it is. Do you teach the same subject, or did you teach the same subject last year?
Just that I'm doing this year? Yes, I will. I'll be teaching the same, luckily.
So would that be why you would lump them all together? Because then you're able to
I'm not going to lump in last year's.
No. This year, because they're all the same subject, would you lump them all together? And that way, because you're assigning the same things?
Well, I'm not lumping them with last year's students.
No.
I'm creating a whole new course for 2021, but I will copy over that whole group of assignments. But when I copy them over, I'm actually going to only copy them over unit by unit as I need them. I'm not going to make an entire copy because, you know, every group of students is different. They have different needs. Also with 100% distance learning, last year I was a blended model. So things aren't going to work quite the same. So I am going to have to make modifications. But I do have this core of lessons already created. I have my assessments already created. I do math reps. I do time tests. They're already created. I don't need to redo them. So I can pull them in. By the way, I saw a lot of you taught math. I have a bunch of, they're called fast attacks. They're in Commons. They're time tests, not just for, you know, the basics, but I have percent conversions and stuff like that. So if you look me up in Commons, you'll find a bunch of stuff. Okay, let's see. If you have a... Yes, Canvas works amazing with Google Options, and I will get into that, okay? No, I would, in elementary, I would have one course, and I would have all your subjects together. If you have the kids all day, you don't want them jumping course to course. Instead, you would just have different assignments for the different topics. And actually, the best practices I've seen is, and we'll talk about organization, is to organize by the week. And I'll come back to that. Don't let me forget. All right, let's go back to. All right, let's quick talk about your menu. On the left-hand side, you have a very complex menu bar. You don't need, and this is on the white section, so this is the course-specific menu bar. You don't need all the kids to see all this stuff, okay? When you're organizing your class, or when I organize my class, I present all the material, all the resources, all the links, all the assignments to my students through modules. And the reason I do it through modules is because I can control what the kids see and the order they see it. You, as the teacher, will be able to see everything, but you only want the kids to see what you want them to see. So in your settings, if you're in a course, go ahead and go to settings real quick. I also suggest put a little image here, and it can be anything. If you click the three dots and you choose image, there's a little button at the top called Unsplash. Unsplash is a great resource for copyright-free images. Just pick something fun. I saw a lot of people spending a lot of time on their home pages doing these really cool Bitmoji home pages. It's fun, and I have a Bitmoji background. I'm not using it now because in Google Meet it kind of wrecks the visual for, you know, wrecks my, you know, the person presenting. But it's fun, but really not necessary. don't spend your time there. You really want to spend your time creating good, engaging lessons. And that's hard. All right, so Unsplash, you can find a cool image, but I'm going to cancel that because I already have my image. All right, so if you look at navigation, I strongly suggest, I don't know if you can see this. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oops, wrong one. There we go. These are the only things I have available for my students. And I usually don't even have chat, but I think this year I'm going to try it. I have home, announcements, people. I do let them see who else is in the class, modules and grades. That's it. Just because you have assignments and quizzes down here in this bottom that's inactive, you'll see it. The way you activate things, you just click the 3 dots. And by the way, feel free to click anything in your course. You can't break it, okay? You really can't break it. But you disable what you don't want the kids to have access to. You will see a little eyeball with the line through it, meaning the kids can't see it, but you can always go to assignments, you can go to pages, you can go to anything. But by organizing everything in modules, the kids just see what you want them to see, okay? All right, let's go back really quick. All right, we talked a little bit about home pages. Actually, I think now is a really good time. So I have created a course, a training course. So in your other window, go ahead and go to this bit.ly, please. And please join my training course. I have a lot of resources. I have a lot of sample lessons, and I'll go through some of those with you. And while everyone's logging into that, you should not need permission. You may need to create an account or just use your email address because it is in the Santa Ana School District account. Thanks, Jennifer. All right, let me go back and look at questions real quick. Yeah, we're going to talk about Google, I promise. Direct me towards. Yes, I have a lot of lower grade resources. We'll talk about that. Canvas does work with, you know what? I have not used it with Seesaw, I'll be honest with you. But you can link to anything. I mean, I can create a link to, you know, anything with Canvas. Pear Deck, I don't think has an integration, but Nearpod does. Although someone told me that I think Pear Deck is creating one. So I don't know for sure. I do use Nearpod because of the integration, and I know our district has just paid for a subscription. What else? Did I miss anything else so far? Oh, okay, so they did come out with it. I knew they were working on it, on the Pear Deck integration. So, and yeah, we've got some teachers in my school that are big Pear Deck users. All right. Jennifer, yes, we have Nearpod for sure. I think they know. As far as I know, we have Nearpod. All right, so here's my homepage. Honestly, keep it simple. You don't need to be really complicated. I have a start here, about me, contact me, and my website. For my students, I'm literally going to have an assignments tab and a contact. That's all they need. They don't need anything else. Oh, I am going to have a help button this year, I decided. Or I don't know if I'm going to call it help, but I'm going to have video tutorials. So, because a lot of kids, they don't know how to take a screenshot, right? They don't know how to move a photo in Google Doc or crop a photo into Google Doc. So some of these basic skills that I want them to learn, I am going to put in a training, like a training page. But here's what I have for you. So now you can see my screen, you can see I have all these links, but you only have the first few, right? Feel free to complete any of the assignments just for fun, but I'm not going to grade anything, just so you know. Any questions yet? Right here. I want this to be helpful for everybody, so. All right. Okay, so if you have questions, pop them in the chat, or feel free to unmute to make this as helpful as possible. All right.
Andrea, how do you get the start here about Andrea contact? How do you get those buttons and links on your homepage?
So I actually just created those buttons in Google Drawing, but there is a website called DA Button Factory, DA Button Factory, and you can create cute. Basically, you're creating an image. This is just a picture, and I've created a link. So let me go ahead and edit this page so you can kind of see what I'm doing, okay? Justine, I think Pear Deck has an integration now. We can look at that in a minute. So here is my homepage. Oh, how come I can't grab the corner? Wait, let me zoom out. Hang on. Okay. Oh no, what in the? So I seem to be missing. There's supposed to be a little 3 dots there. What? Oh, there we go. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's an update. They updated since yesterday. That is, I got to tell you, Canvas is doing a great job of updating stuff. So I don't know if you can see here, but I've just created a table. And I had, actually, these are actually 2 tables. My first table, I just threw my little Bitmoji up here. And kids really like this. They like your Bitmoji, and they like your Bitmoji doing other stuff. It's just a little personal. For my real course, I'll also have a real picture of me. And I will have a little video. So I can show you, I'll show you that in a moment. This is a second table, and you can move, you just grab this and you can kind of move the sides of the table. So that's all this is a table. Down here is another table, and I inserted the photos. And then once I inserted the photo, I selected it. This is so funny. I swear to God, you guys, this is updated from yesterday. Yesterday it's changed. That's so funny. Okay, so you click on the, I guess I'll be playing with this too. Image options, link options, this is really cool. And I can link to anything. Well, I want to link to, why do they do this on a day before I train? Okay, so if I go up here to my link, I can edit the link. And I can link to anything. I don't know where my menu is. Super. This is, honestly, I updated this yesterday. Well, you have to give me a minute. So there is a way to link to your course navigation, image options, link options. I've already got the link here, but I don't know where to get it now because it used to have a menu bar here that you could just link to. All right, well, I will play with that. But you can link to anything. Accessibility, 14 words. You can also do HTML. Now it's at the bottom. So if you know a website you're using has an HTML, you can just copy it and paste it in. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's go ahead and break one of the links. And then try it again, because I do like that handle better than the previous handle, though. All right, so here's a link, link options. Let's go ahead and just delete the link. What it does. No, I don't think that's going to work. Link options. Let's go up here. Link. Remove link. All right, let's remove the link. All right, so now you can see it's just an image. I can make it bigger. I can make it smaller. And let's go ahead and, I got to make this bigger so you can see all the tools. Okay, link. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love this. Course links. There you go. So I want that to link. I could link it to a specific assignment. Here's all my assignments. I could link it to a page, a specific page I've created, a quiz, anything. I actually, though, want this one. Is this the one I broke? Yeah. This one I want to link to my website. So external link, and now I can just type in /arrow.udemy.com, or usually it's better to cut and paste so you don't mess it up, but try to be fast. Okay, any questions? All right. Oh, absolutely. If you've got a Bitmoji homepage or Bitmoji page, yeah, you can absolutely. Here's the problem, though. If you upload it as an image, the whole Bitmoji page, your links will not be active.
Yeah.
So what you could do, if you've created it in Google Slides, and we're a Google district, so I do everything in Google.
There it is.
If you created it in Google Slides, you could upload the slide, and then all your links are active within the slide, okay? Then you simply make sure that you save, and here's my homepage. But so you can see they're just below. They're very, very simple. I will show you my homepage for my course for next year. So in the course, I have start here. So I think some of you have already started. Oh, I meant to. So this is just the who are you. And then I have a bunch of sample lessons. So like I said, you can integrate anything. So this one is really fun. If everyone wants to jump down to Padlet, a big focus this year is going to be connecting with our students, right? Getting to know them. So all I did is I just took the HTML code from Padlet and I popped it in. And this is what the kids see. And the lesson is, if you could visit anywhere in the world, where would you go? So if everybody wants to pop something in, it's just kind of fun. Do put your name with it, though. I don't think I required a name. Okay. All right. So I'll let people play with that, and I'll keep chatting. So my students access everything from modules, and I will teach them that at the beginning of the year. But also my one button that says assignments will actually go to modules, because I can organize everything here for them. In my welcome module, this was actually, I taught a course for QBold. It was a little bit longer, so that's why those are not active for you. They're kind of irrelevant at the moment. I have a lot of lessons. These are sample lessons, and I'll show you how I organize in a few minutes. But I'm going to show you this lesson. It's lesson 41. This is a real math assignment I did with my students, and I used the LTI integration. So LTI means learning tool inter something. Anyway, it's basically an app that it's basically a way to bring in other apps and resources. No, it's not integration. It's interoperability or something. I know, I always thought it was integration too, but doesn't really matter. So what I did is I created a Google Doc, and if you've ever used HyperDocs, like the real formal HyperDocs, this was a very similar lesson based on that. So I had a simulation I wanted the kids to play with using the PhET simulations. Thank you. Yes, Jorge, that's it. Interoperability. I've got the directions for the kids. I wanted them to play with the simulation just to explore. But obviously, I'm not in the classroom with them, and I can't look over their shoulders to see what they're doing. So instead, I wanted them to take screenshots. So they would take a screenshot and explain what they said. Screenshot, explain what they said, keep going, right? And I could tell right away who understood the idea of positive and negative slope and who didn't. One of the questions is draw a line with a negative slope. So many kids had -2 over -3. And of course, the slope was positive. And I could see they weren't making that connection, right? But, and then I had a little assessment at the bottom. But what the kids do, just like in Google Classroom, is they each get a copy of this assignment. But instead of them having to share every assignment with you, or it polluting your Google Drive, it's all contained in Canvas. So where I have the share button here in the top right, the kids have a submit button. So they just have to know to submit. And then you can see all their work in SpeedGrader. And you have tools. You can't
Andrea,
editing.
you might want to share present as a student so we can see the student version of it.
Sure. No, I can't, because you should be able to see the student version on your own. That's the one thing as a teacher, there is a student view, but when you're using Google Tools, it doesn't show because you don't have a Google account as a teacher, a student Google account, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? But everyone should be able to click on lesson 41 and be able to see this. That's why I give you access to the training course. And you'll have a submit button. Now this is kind of small, so I really don't want the kids working on it here. But if they click the blue, it'll open up in a bigger window. Okay, so they can work on it, but they do need to remember to go back and hit submit. Was everyone able to see that when they log into this assignment on your student view? Okay, I see some nodding, thank you. But this is a great way for students to interact with whatever it is you're doing, right? Now, that does mean you need to look at it. And 160 students, this took me about 20 minutes to really look at 160 students. But then I knew right away which students, that I needed to go over negative slope again. Although actually, I lied, I didn't, because the kids knew what positive and negative slope were ahead of time. But this was my explore activity. But I knew that was something I needed to really teach and go over. All right, and yes, there is a lot of app smashing because Canvas is not an app. Well, I mean, it's not. It's a platform. Think of it as a delivery system and an organization system. And it lets you do whatever it is you want. So for this assignment will not automatically grade because I had kids filling in a table. But there are a lot that are automatically graded. So I do a lot of assignments, but I don't use the assignments tool. I use the quiz tool. So let's go back to modules and let me find one. Okay, here's bats and the coronavirus. This actually was created by a friend of mine, Melissa Hero. So go ahead and click on bats and coronavirus. You can tell that it's created with the quiz tool because it's got the little rocket in front of it, okay? Yes, it does create, in Google, it creates one for every student, yes. Oh, I'll show you how to remove the lines. We'll do that in a moment. Good question. All right, so here is a video to watch, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and preview this. This is an assignment. This is not a test, it is not a quiz, but it's using the quiz tool because what it'll do is it gives the kids a space to write their response. And this is just a one question little assessment based on the video, okay? If you make your questions multiple choice, fill in the blank, sorting, matching, then they will grade for you. So we've actually, at our school, recreated all of our assessments this year to be self-graded. And then we will do other things, obviously, for open-ended response. Because honestly, we just don't have the time. And I know people are worried about cheating. Oh, well, so they cheat. I can't do everything. I can't police them all the time, but at least they're doing it, right? But on our assessments, we do let the kids take them multiple times. However, we also give time limits. And the reason we give time limits, they're pretty broad, but we do time limits so that they're not just walking away, right? So they have 30, 40, 50 minutes. And that's just so they know when they sit down, they've got to do it. One of our 8th grade teachers did have the kids turn on their cameras when they were taking a test. But honestly, they could cheat anyway, right? They've got their phones. They could, you know, look up stuff. They could be texting a friend. But hey, they're interacting with the material, right? So I'm okay with that. You know, you got to let things go. By the way, someone asked, I'll be starting my 36th year teaching, I think. Maybe it's 37. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, so I started teaching before we even had overhead projectors and ditto. Well, we had ditto machines, but that was it. So yeah, so you know what? There's some things you know, the kids cheated with, you know, dittos. So you know, I'm not too worried about it. And I know Canvas is working on. There are some lockdown browsers in Canvas that districts can pay to. You know, it's an add-on, an LTI they can add on. But honestly, I've got a second computer here, so what's to stop me from doing this and, you know, or texting, right? That's, a camera's not really going to help that. I mean, how do you know if I'm looking down to solve a problem or looking down to text? So sometimes you just got to let it go. All right. Oh, good. You figured out the borders. Excellent. So yes, you set the border to 0, and then it'll disappear. Let's look at some other sample assignments. Whoops, didn't mean to go back there, but that's okay. Back to modules. Oh, so let's go back to home real quick. So I see some people have worked, and now it shows me to do. I have 5 lesson 41s to grade, and I have 1 bats and coronavirus to grade. So I know, do I care what, which period they were in? Not particularly. Now, if a student has trouble and I need to talk to them, I can always, you know, look at their period, and it'll tell me in SpeedGrader which section they're in. Okay, back to modules. Okay, so for the Santa Ana folks, we will be using CPM again. That's our math text. I don't know if any other districts are using CPM, but you can integrate the book with the exact lesson, and that's a little more complicated, and I'll be doing a training just for Santa Ana later on that. There's a CAMI lesson, there's a geometry hyperdoc, thanks to my friend Kristen, who's actually in this session right now. So if you use hyperdocs or you don't have a textbook that you use, you can just embed it. So here's her hyperdoc. Thank you, Kristen, for sharing. And the kids type right in here and they hit submit. Okay. So let's see, I'm looking at the chat. All right. So let's go back really quick to my home. Several people are asking about the borders in my table, so we'll just edit that really quick. So here's the table. When you click in the table, you get this little menu at the bottom. The very first box, and be careful on which one is which. It does, if you hover, it tells you. I've accidentally deleted my table before. Table properties. And oh, look, this is updated. Okay. Border 0. Okay. And then you can also do alignment if you want the table in the middle, or you want where you want the text. Okay. Any questions? And this is under advanced, or under general. Let's see what advanced says. You can select the border style, the border color. Ooh, there's more stuff. Oh, look at all the styles. See, this is all new. That's excellent. So there you go. No, I'll post the recording on Facebook and on my website. So you can get it there. All right, so I'm going to go to home. Oops. Yeah, I can leave that. I didn't change anything. All right. So the easiest thing to do when you're using either a hyperdoc or a Google Slides presentation is to create it in Google, in your Google Drive, and then you can insert it. So I think a lot of people were asking about that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to modules, and we're going to go ahead and, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Thanks for asking, Jacqueline. All right. So like I said, I organized everything in modules. So I want a new lesson. I click on lesson. And I'm going to do a new assignment. And I'm going to call this, I don't know, class, I don't know. I'm just going to call it Sandbox. Oh, this is something I wanted to talk about. If you don't have, your district obviously has not created courses for you, you create what's called a Sandbox course. Basically, it's a dummy course, but it lets you play with everything. And you can even build your whole course in the Sandbox, because, you know, we play as kids, we played in the Sandbox, and then copy over everything you want. Okay, so I've created a new lesson. It comes up at the bottom. Notice it is not published, so you cannot see my Sandbox lesson yet. Okay. I now can edit it, and I can do literally anything I want here. You have a huge menu bar. I can change the font, which I love that they just moved it to the front. So here is my reason, I don't know. And I do have my Grammarly hooked up, so it does come out, which is nice. I can stick a table in here. So if I want to do table, which is a great way to organize resources, just be aware that when kids are using mobile devices, it might, you know, move the boxes instead of next to each other. They might, you know, be one on top of the other, but that's fine. I can insert an image, upload an image. I can use images I've already done. User images, that's new. I'll have to play with that. But let's look at upload an image. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, they just updated. This is amazing. So you can go to Unsplash. You can go to a URL now, or you can just go to your computer. Let's see what I've got just sitting on my desktop. Here's some nice little flowers. I'll put those in. Click or drag and drop. Oh my God, they just literally from last night. And here's my image. Whoops. There's my image. Ta-da! Perfect. Easy peasy. I can make it bigger if I make my table bigger. And look at, isn't that cool? All right, so there's my image. Now you want to do a Google Doc. I'll make that smaller so it's not so annoying. All right. Thank you, Garrett. That's why I don't like recording myself, because I'm just, I don't know. This is just how I am in the classroom. So, all right. So okay. So it's changed. I got to figure out where it is now. Oh, I got to show you this. This is media. Upload or record media. This is so cool. I do this all the time when we were on distance learning, and my kids loved it. So, hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is just amazing. There are 69 people in the room. I hope you're getting something out of this, because I'm having a little bit of fun here. Thank you. All right. I hate the way I look. I hate the way I sound. So when I first started doing it, I would like re-record it like 10 times. And now I'm like, forget it. I don't care. It's the kids know me, or they don't know me. They will. It's good enough. You can also see my disaster of an office behind me. I did actually clean up for you guys a little bit. But all I've got to do here is save. I can give it a title if I want, but for distance learning, I'm going to give all my instructions, because I can type them all out. I mean, how many of us read all the instructions, right? Most of us go to YouTube and watch a video, and here it is. And here. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. All right. You get the idea, right? The kids can make it bigger. They can watch it faster now. Look at all the changes. Oh, my God. I cannot believe all these changes. All right. This is amazing. All right. So let's look at a Google Doc. Let's go to the bottom here. So I'm down below, and I'm thinking this might be it. Upload a document, course documents. Let's try it, right? What could go wrong? Drag and drop. No, this is, okay, this is, upload a file from my computer. So that's not what I want, because I don't want it from my computer. So images, course documents, user documents. I don't know, let's try it. No. Oh my gosh, any previous documents I've uploaded? It looks like you might even be able to upload student work. Okay, that's not what I want. Where is, anybody know where the plug at the end? All right, let's try that. Ah, search, discovery. Ah, there you go. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to allow Google Apps. I have it twice. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. And it's going to my account. Make sure you link it to the correct account, though, because you got to delete it and redo it if you don't. So let me find sample. Let me just find something. It's a sample agenda. Here we go. So, oh, perfect. This is perfect. So here is what my agenda is going to look like for next year. I click on it. I don't want to link to it because a link would, thanks, Kristen, a link would take the kids out to it. Instead, I want to embed it. So it's right there in the middle. Check out how easy this is. Oh, shoot, I accidentally got it in that table. So, yeah. Okay, I don't want it in the table. Okay, let me undo really quick. And I'm going to get rid of this table because it's annoying me. But delete table. All right, let's try that again. All right, Google Docs. Click there. Oops, maybe it's that one. Come on. Come on. There it goes. We'll do that again. Sample agenda. All right, but I spelled wrong. Okay, hello. Oh no, this is hooked to my wrong. Oh, how funny. This is hooked to my wrong account. I wonder if I've got one hooked to each account. I don't know. Oh, maybe not. Should be right there. There we go. I don't know what happened. Okay, embed. Here you go. And ta-dum-ta-dum. Now, the first time you do it, you do need to authorize it, and the kids will need to authorize it the first time, but after that, they never need to do it again. And here's my agenda for the week. And because I've done this in Google Slides, I just go to Google Slides every day, or actually I'm going to do it for a week at a time. And I think because we're going to 100% distance learning, I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to have like a weekly objective and then the lessons for each day. And then I'll have my time for my live lessons. And I call them live lessons. They're not office hours. I'll do that. That's something different. But my live lesson is when I want the kids online and I'm going to demonstrate or we're going to play with something. Last year we were doing patterns and functions for linear equations. So the day before I said everybody needs to have, 20 pennies or 20 beans or 20 little objects that you can play with. And then I had them building patterns. And then I had them use their phones and take pictures of the patterns they were building. So anything to make it a little more meaningful. Let's be honest, most of my sons teach. I have a son who's he was in 8th grade last year. Most of his teachers did lessons that he did not need to attend. And his science teacher, the very first live lesson, she said, oh, look, the people that are here are the people that don't need to be here. And so he looks at me and goes, Mom, so why am I here? I'm like, I don't know. Do you need to be? She's like, nope. Like, so I never made him go to another class because there was no purpose. So if you're going to do live lessons, you call it a lesson, you do a lesson, and you have a purpose. There's a reason for the kids to show up. And sometimes I would say, and by the way, on the quick check you're going to do today, after we're offline, the answer to number 3 is blue. And they'd be, what? But then when they would take it and they would see the question was, what's Mrs. Earl's favorite color today, right? And they would go, oh, so you're building in the reason for them to be there. They need a reason. Otherwise, they're not going to show up, right? Okay, so here's this. And and I always make on my agenda, the new week is the first page. So it's the first thing that shows up. So if you were to go backwards here, oh, I can't click through it. I didn't save it. I guess that would help. So, hang on. So here, the kids can click through and they can go backwards to previous weeks, right? But the new week is always the first slide. So it's what's right there on the homepage, dead center, right in their faces. Now someone asked about for the kids to get a copy. So I'll show you that as well. We'll go back to editing the same assignment. No, this is not, this is an assignment because I want the kids to turn, well, oh no, my agenda will be on a page. That is correct. It will be on my home page. And I actually have a sample of that I'll show you. But right now I'm in an assignment. When you create assignments, you decide how you want the kids to, or what you want the kids to submit. You have a lot of options. Obviously we want online. But online, do you want them just text entry? I'll post a math question. Our textbook has some, yes, the slides automatically update. Yes, not immediately though. The kids either have to refresh or, you know, in like 10 minutes or whatever, it'll update. Well, you do have to refresh if you're in the moment, but if the kids come back in tomorrow, it'll be updated. Text entry, I'll post a question. Sometimes it was like, what'd you do this weekend? And the kids will just type in. They can type right in on Canvas. I see it in SpeedGrader. I can go through those very quickly. But what I found myself doing is I was giving a lot of feedback. You know, one girl said that her dog ran away. And so I did a video comment. I said, I'm so sorry, you know, let me know if you find her. I hope she's okay, you know, and whatever. A URL. So if the kids go out and do an Adobe Spark video, right? Or they do something in Book Creator or some other outside website that's not integrated in Canvas, they can post the URL. So I did Book Creator this summer and they all posted they published their book and put the URL. Media, that's the kids recording, just like I showed you. They can record themselves talking. And that's super effective. It's super, and they want to talk. And, you know, we talk about the kids, you know, how do you get 40 kids in a classroom to talk? It's impossible. And you can't listen to them all, but here you can. Okay. A lot of people use Flipgrid for that, which does integrate in Canvas, but this is just down and dirty, super easy. And I will definitely start with this, and then later I'll go to Flipgrid. I find with Flipgrid, the kids spend a lot of time with all the bells and whistles, doing all the fun stuff, and the content gets lost. So here, it's just the content. Here's the problem. How'd you solve it? What did you do? You know? And then file uploads. If they've got a PDF or a Google Drawing they've done, they can upload a file. Okay, so you can decide. But there's another option, external tool. These are all those LTIs I talked about, and I'll show you a screen with all of those. We're going to use Google, and it's called Google Drive Cloud Assignments. Now, your district admin does need to activate all these, and it'd be nice if they just activate it for everybody. Or you can do it for yourself, and there are directions on the tool. You need a secret key and all that. We can talk about that later. You can look that up. But let's just find, let me find lesson, let me see if 41 is here. Okay. All right, here's my, oh, here's a 3-act math. I think that's a Google, oh, it's a doc. Let's go to here. All right, I'm just gonna do this one. I just click on the assignment. Now I've created the assignment. I put boxes in where I want the kids to type, like a one box table, because for me grading, it's much easier. I started with just, you know, like a worksheet, a question with space, question, space. What happens when they type, those other questions get pushed down, and then I can't tell the difference between their typing and my typing. So I do the question, I do a box, you know, one table box, and then they type right in it. And then it's so much easier for my eyes just to focus on that. All I have to do is click, select it, whoops, select it, hit submit. Now you do have to select again. This is weird, but you do. Select again, and then you'll see it in here. Do not load this tool in a new tab. You want to keep them inside Canvas. And I'm going to save and publish. Now you're all going to be able to see it. So you can see my stuff up here, and then the kids' assignment is down below. And this is where each kid gets their own copy, okay? I don't want to take them out of Canvas because then they might, I mean, they're still gonna, you can, I mean, play with it, see what you like. I just want to keep them in Canvas because a lot of the stuff they can actually do right in this window. Because if I didn't have all this stuff above it, this would be a lot bigger. But they can make it bigger by clicking here. Oh, I clicked on a student's work. Oops, sorry, Crystal. But actually, this is good. You can see how the student turned in, right? So I do make sure that I make a master. And when I demonstrate, don't demonstrate on the master, because I did that. And then when all the kids made their copies, they had all my work. So you have to be careful. So I have my master, which is what they'll make, which will go here. And then when I'm demonstrating something on that document, I call my, I make a copy. It's just, my master's just the original blank, right, with the boxes. Because you can see here, it's kind of hard to see. If you go back to lesson 41, you'll see this lesson, and the boxes are blank, right? So if I were to type on that, the kids are going to see all my work. So instead, I make a copy for me. I call it Earl. You know, I keep the same title. So it'd be lesson 40, Earl. And then I can type on it and show the kids, but then they don't get my work. They don't see my work. Okay. All right. What else? So, uh-oh, somebody might be looked at mountain time. Okay. What else were people asking? So, hang on, I'm going down to look. Let's do that. I'm at. The student gets the title. It comes in automatically. Absolutely. You can have the kids like add their name to the title, or last name, first initial if you want. You don't need to though, because you're going to look at it in SpeedGrader. And in SpeedGrader, it matches the kid to the document. So you don't really need to worry about it. Because it's in their own account. It's in their own account. If you did that lesson that I had, the lesson 40, then you'll see that you didn't see anybody else's work. And I don't know how that works, but it does. Set up a homepage with your agenda. Yes. I clicked on the lesson sandbox. It took me to Google. I did something. No. So if you click down here, yes, it took you to Google, because it should have taken you to your own copy of Crystal's assignment, which, okay.
Andrea, one thing that I noticed in the summer, I had some students clicking over and over because sometimes the connection is a little slow. So I would have students maybe with 4 or 5 different copies of it. And
that's
then
why, okay. So did you have them forcing copies, or did you do it through cloud assignment?
I think I did it. It looked like what yours looks like, but I think they just, because of the delay, maybe their Wi-Fi, or they didn't realize some kids are click happy. So I had to have the kids share their screen, and we found out they had like 4 or 5 copies. And the one they started working on was there. It was the first one. So that's one thing that we need to maybe tell kids to be careful. Don't be click happy and give it a wait time.
Yeah. And that's interesting. So, and they should always be going through. You want them always to go through Canvas to get to their work, or at least the first. Well, you know what? I actually haven't had that problem once I went to using this format. In the past, I would put a link in the assignments itself and do forced copy. And then, yeah, they would have multiple copies. But because when they do work, they'll be able to see their work. So if you guys go back, if you clicked on lesson 40, went out to Google, did a little work, go back to Canvas lesson 40, and you should see your work in there. And I think that is something you just need to let kids know. But this is just a link to their own individual document. Okay. All right. Do I have to share it multiple times? What do you mean? What do you mean, Zulema? No, you just do it once and they all have it. All right, let's go. Well, we are at the hour, but I am happy to stay. So if anyone wants to stay, I'll just keep recording. Let's go back to the home page. A lot of people asked about that. Actually, let me show you my resources for people that have other commitments today. And look, I can see now there's 7 people that submitted. 4 people tried National Pizza Day, the Nearpod lesson. Like I said, I'm not going to grade them, but there they are. If you go back to my modules, I have my sample lessons. And by the way, I saw this on Facebook. I don't know who posted this. Putting a little emoji. This is amazing. What a great idea to kind of give a little differentiation. That was the one thing I didn't like about Canvas, is everything was monochromatic, you know, in modules. But you can just put little icons. And they do have the little paper or the link or the, there's a little discussion icon, but those are kind of hard. I think this year what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an icon for a video. Then I'm just a little image. I'm going to have a little image for a live lesson and an image for independent work. That way, visually, and I'll post those on my homepage, obviously, but that way, visually, they can kind of see what lessons are which. And those elementary folks, I would have an icon for math. I would have an icon for science, an icon for social studies. And you can get those if you're on a Mac. It's Command Control Space. I just learned how to do that. Command Control Space for a Mac. And for Windows, it's the Windows key, period, I think. So if anyone else is on Windows and knows, or a Chromebook. But what a great way to like spruce stuff up. I just love it. So I'm going to I stole that from somebody. I did put a little icon here for HyperDocs, right? Because it's a tool. All right, resources. So I have here a list of resources. It's a curated list of resources that other people have submitted, or I've submitted. There's videos. This is where you're going to find the video on cross-listing. Lots of other videos. This is stuff that I've used or people have specifically asked me about. Some are my resources, some are not. Some are playlists. There's a couple podcasts. They're great. I created this. Oh, whoever's not muted, please mute yourself. Whoever's not muted, please. Thank you. Oh, I don't know who, I can't tell who it is. Sorry. Oh, Valerie. There we go. Mute. Okay. I found this. In doing class discussions, it's really important you have your expectations. So I found this and modified it, and you're welcome to steal it. How to show recent announcements. You're going to use the announcements tab all the time, but you don't want to overdo it. So I have just the last announcement pops up on my homepage, and here's directions. Canvas integrated LTIs, more information about that. Nearpod. This was the presentation I did for QBold. Welcome. Sample weekly agendas. Sample weekly agenda in slides. Now, those of you that are here from the Facebook groups, I hope it's okay, I stole your home pages that everyone posted, these wonderful home pages, and I created a slides presentation. Now, this presentation is open for everybody to edit, and I hope that more people will click here and share your home pages so other people get ideas. I do have a little tutorial on how to use full screen capture because it's hard to get your whole screen because it goes below the line. But if you click through, so this is my homepage. I'm gonna have something very similar for my class this year, my math class. My emoji will be different. This is my old one, so I'll have a different emoji. I'm gonna have just the modules here. This is it, and my agenda. Nothing else. Super, super simple. But some of you are this is what I used before last year, and for the last several years, I had an icon or a button for every unit. The kids told me they never used it. So why bother, right? Here's some really clever ones. I love this one, super simple. But honestly, the kids, you teach them to go to modules. There's really nowhere else for them to go. I do like this link to your live lessons though, and I did have that, and I will have that on my homepage as well. Some people are using Slides Mania, Slides Go. I mean, there's all sorts of creative ways to do a homepage, but unless it's a Google slide embedded, your links are not active. You would have to put the links below it or next to it or whatever. But even this one, some people showed from their mobile device. You got to also remember how this is going to look on the kids' mobile devices. A lot of our kids are going to use their phones. So keep it simple. I mean, this is all really fun, and I have my Bitmoji homepage, my Bitmoji background and all that, but keep it simple. You know, and do you want the kids to see all the terms? I don't know if this person's in the room, and I'm sorry I was not able to grab everybody's names off. If you don't want kids to see stuff, don't have buttons to it. Like don't have, if your assignments button should go to modules, not assignments. Okay. But anyway, you can flip through there. Also, I stole, let me go back to modules. Everything goes back to modules, everything. I also stole some people's examples of organization, and I hope more people will add their modules organization. That is something I said I would talk about today. Kind of, sort of got to it. But here's some really good examples of how you can lay out your modules. So this person, I love, put objectives and then the lessons that go with that objective. Next objective, lessons. I really, really like that. I don't know if she changed the color, or maybe that's in the new, I don't know. Check that out. This person by the week and put the lessons. And I love learn, practice, discuss, improve it. I'm going to kind of, I think I'm going to use that kind of a format because I don't know how often I'm going to meet with my kids live. So I want them to work through, and you can also set that they have to work through the lessons in order. That's really important. You can do that. Here's more. So if you have some great ways to set up your modules, that would be excellent. And share that so everybody can see, right? Because this is public. My course is public, and I hope more people will share because you know what, we are better together. Yeah, so because you cannot force kids to attend live sessions, you might want to record. Do what I'm doing now, record it. Is it as good? No, but at least they're getting it. Just go to Facebook and search for Canvas. There's quite a few. There is an elementary Facebook group for Canvas. There's distance learning. There's a whole bunch of them. A lot of amazing people. I don't know how many people from those Facebook groups are here today, but post a question and you'll get 20 answers. And they're not all the same, which is good. So you can kind of pick the path that works best for you. Okay. Other questions? Why
so Andrea, oh, go ahead.
Right. That's why I'm not going to have a bunch of things for them to click on. Exactly. They always go to modules to find their lessons. And my homepage will have their agenda. So, and actually, did I put my, I just kind of fixed my homepage. Oh, no, it's in a different course. Let me show you the homepage I'm most likely going to use. And this is actually my Sandbox course. Well, it's part of my Sandbox course. Nope, this isn't it. I lied. This is not it. Hang on, I got to find my Sandbox course. I actually have two because I'm working with our district, so I have that. And then, but I have my basic skills practice, fast attacks, which are in the Commons. You're welcome to take the whole thing. I'm going to do math talks, math ropes, pages. Let me look at all pages. See if it's here. Math ropes teacher. No. Oh, I wonder where I put it. But it's super simple. I don't know. Now, I did get a little more complicated for my summer program. I did a digital storytelling class. I was able to do anything I wanted. A lot of my kids had siblings that were constantly in the room or with them or whatever. But I got a little fancy. I had my agenda on the first page down here. I had a page for student projects, and then I had tutorials, and I used tabs, and that's a little more advanced. But here you can see I have my most recent announcement at the top, right? And then I always had the link for, I've taken it off, but I always had the link here for the Google Meet. And actually, if your district has conferences, check out Big Blue Button. That's for a whole nother session, but you can do breakout groups, breakout rooms much more easily than Oh, you know what? I'm going to take a quick screenshot. That's not what I wanted. Very easily. Okay. If your screen is on, just smile for a minute. I just need to take a little screenshot. I should have done it before when we had more people in the room, but there we go. Okay. So what other questions? Let's just do with questions. What questions do you have? And I'll look for my homepage. I know I did it, but I don't know where I put it.
Okay, my question, I teach third grade self-contained, and
Okay.
I was thinking that I would do, you know, a unit for realistic fiction, and then like I would also have a science unit going on at the same time. And then I would build a module, like weekly modules with the weekly agenda, like what you had. But if they're going to be able to hit the modules button, they're going to be able to see the whole realistic fiction unit, the whole.
No. You just don't publish it.
But I thought if I wanted to pull those assignments into the weekly agenda, I thought it had to be published from.
No. So my agenda, my weekly agenda on that Google slide is not physically connected to, it's not physically connected to my modules. It's just a visual. It's just like when I'm in the classroom, I would write it on the board every day. Okay. It's not physically connected. I could do that, but that's a whole lot more work that I'm not willing to go to. And I know some teachers want to do that. Go for it. You know, believe it or not, my friends that are in here know me. I do have a life besides teaching and technology, but this is my hobby. But it's just way too much work. So I view the weekly agenda as a snapshot of what we're doing in every class, and then the lessons are posted in the modules. You could have a module for each topic you teach, or each subject, I mean, and then the top thing on each subject is the lesson for the day. If you do that, you might want to have buttons on your homepage that say math, science, language arts, and link that to that science module, that math module, that language arts module. Okay, I've seen elementary teachers do it that way. So it takes them directly to the lesson. I've seen other teachers just do it for the week. So the week of, you know, August 10th through, you know, 15th or whatever it is. And the first word of the assignment is math, and then the assignment. Language arts, the assignment. Science, and then the assignment. And
but that's what I was thinking. I would have like a daily or a weekly agenda button, and it would take, and they would just push the button from the home page, and it would take them to all the assignments.
Well, if you want all the assignments together, you need to put them in a module.
Okay.
For the week. You know, either way, both ways work. I've seen both ways. And I don't know if we have any elementary teachers that have tried it either way, want to chime in.
So it sounds like you're doing the weekly, like, because I'm a third grade teacher too, actually. So I think you guys are talking about two separate things. So one is the agenda, and you're saying you make like a week of August 15th through August 20th module, or do we just have the science module, math module, language arts module, and within our agenda, they can just pop off into each one?
Right, and that's what you need to decide which way you like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you might have to do it a few different ways until you find it the way you want it. You know, try it, because I've always done it by unit. Since, you know, I only teach math, I've always done it by unit. But because it was distance learning and I had so many more like little assignments, it was just getting unwieldy. So I ended up just doing it by week. And it's funny, my kids said they liked it by unit better, but I think that's just because how I had trained them, you know, for the first 6 months of the school year, right? But I'm definitely doing it by week this year, definitely, because I want everything in one easy place. But I am going to differentiate the type of assignment. And I'm also going to use the tool in modules that forces the kids to go in order. My only problem with that is I don't know where in the order the live lesson will come. So, And I always have some kind of component with it, some written component. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm stuck at the moment.
So you just mentioned the differentiation. So again, third grade teacher.
Yeah.
If you have your low readers and your high readers, then would you have two full-blown different modules for?
No. Oh, no. Okay. No, you can. That's one of the beauties of Canvas. So let me click on. All right. So I talked about my sections are my different periods of math. You can do, there's two things. You can create sections and you could have my low group was always my bunnies. When I did teach elementary for about 12 years. So they were my bunnies. And then I had my, I can't remember what my high group was, but my low group was always the bunnies. So under sections, you create a bunny group. They don't have to know they're the low group. They don't have to know they're the ELs. And then you can decide to just assign something to them, right? You can have a lesson for the bunnies and a lesson for the turtles and a lesson for the, you know, whatever. Or if you've got that newcomer, you could have something just for that newcomer too. So you would create sections here, okay? And you would divide the kids into sections. And so when you assign a lesson, and I'll show you how to do that, you can just assign to everybody or you can pick. Does that first part make sense? Okay, so let me go back to an assignment. I'm still looking for that home page. I worked on it last night. I don't know where it went. All right, like here's my slicing geometric solids lesson. This is really fun, by the way, if you teach 7th grade. This is one of our topics. They virtually slice. It's really cool. But let me go to edit. Oh, by the way, the kids have a to-do list on the right-hand side. Stuff only pops in that to-do list if you put a due date. So super important, you always put a due date. Even if it's only a suggestion, but put a due date. All right, so in the bottom of my assignment, I have assign to. I can assign to everyone, or I click that, I can assign it to just this group, or just this section, or just this section, or I could just assign it to one individual student. I have all these options, okay? I have all these options. So if I've got 3 kids that need differentiated work, I could make a copy of the same assignment. I could simplify it or change the text or give more explicit directions and then just assign it to those couple students. Now you are going to want to make sure you don't assign them the regular group, the regular work as well. Or if you assign it to everybody, you then would excuse them from it. But yeah, you can differentiate. Also, you don't want them to see, someone asked about, aren't they going to see the whole unit at once? You have a couple options. I go for the option where I just don't publish it till I'm ready for them to see it. But occasionally I would forget to publish. You can do available from, okay? The problem with this is that they do see it. So I had kids, when I was using that, they would go, Mrs. Earle, I can't take the quiz. I'm like, well, because it's not available till tomorrow, right after the lesson. But so I kind of stopped using that, but a lot of teachers really like it. And they just tell the kids, it's not available till it's available, you know. I also put the new module for the week on top in the modules list for organization. But within the module, I work down. So the first lesson's on top and then the last lesson's on the bottom. But the new module I put on top. So when they click on modules, it always goes to the top. That's why if you're going to do a separate module for science, social studies, etc., with buttons, you would link to that module. It'll take them exactly to the right place. And so I have seen that work really well. Other questions? I don't know if there's a video on how to import course. I mean, I'm sure there is. I know in Santa Ana, we have one of our teachers is making a bunch of videos, and I will link hers in the spreadsheet. By the way, someone asked, just don't make a copy of the spreadsheet because then you won't get updates, but you can just add it to Google Drive. Just that little Google Drive icon with the plus, and then you can always go back to it. So whenever other people add stuff, you can just go back and look. You don't have to go back through my course to see it. Other questions? The sheet is under resources. Are there any problems with Big Blue Button? It's a little wonky to get used to, but once you get used to it, I started this distance learning using it, and I don't know, I just didn't get it, I guess. So I went to Google Meet, but then I used it for my summer program and really liked it. So just it's a little wonky. You got to get used to it. I'll be doing some Santa Ana trainings, I think, for that. All right, other questions? If you want to unmute and ask, feel free, because we're a smaller group now.
So Andrea, you said that when you embed a link, it just goes to the site that you're using. But if you embed the link, it'll open up in Canvas.
Correct.
So
well, it depends. It depends what you're using.
Okay, so I've created a lot of just like interactive Google Slides.
Okay.
I would want teachers to use. I'm one of our curriculum writers for our district.
Okay.
And so I want to make sure, like when I'm posting them to our current curriculum, I'm doing it as a forced copy, so then teachers can edit and make it their own. But if they're embedding it into Canvas, it's automatically making it a forced copy, correct?
Yes. Well, if you do it using the LTI tool at the bottom, as I showed you.
Okay.
If you put it at the top, it's just an activity for them to do. So your teachers have to decide, is this slides lesson something they want the kids just to interact with and get a lot of resources from, click on and do, explore, for example? Or is it something where the teacher wants them to fill in questions, answer questions, do projects, do activities in it?
That would be most of them, yes.
Okay, then they want to do it with the LTI, creating the assignment using the external tool.
Okay.
And you could create that for them, and then they could just copy the assignment, but then the master is yours, not theirs. So it is better to teach them how to do that themselves.
So I think what we are doing, we haven't even gotten access to our account, so I've just been exploring on the free account. But I think we are creating modules for teachers, and then they'll be able, because everybody's brand new to everything.
I strongly recommend that for new teachers.
So if they wanted, but they could still take that module and add or take away from it.
So there's even something else which I'm familiar with it, but I haven't used it. I will use it this year, I believe. It's called a blueprint. So look up blueprint courses. And the idea is that someone creates a course, sets the settings. You would do the home page, although, obviously teachers would personalize it, but you might put, your homepage might have over here, put your Bitmoji, your photo here, put your welcome message here,
Right.
You could even create some basic links, right? And the structure if you want. And then what you do is you send it out to all the other teachers. You link it to the other teachers, and they get that whole course. Once they get it, they can then personalize it and modify it and change it. But they get the whole structure, and they get all the assignments. And then if you create more assignments, you can push those out at a later date. And then teachers can choose to use them or not. I think, don't quote me, Santa Ana folks, I think that's what we're going to do in our district. But we're only going to create the first module, because obviously we want teachers to take ownership of it.
Yeah.
Create their own that works best for them. But we will push out some stuff and all these settings. I mean, it takes a while to set all your settings the way you want them, and, the way that makes sense. Because you don't want kids, like if I go back to my math course, if you click on assignments, you're going to see a huge hodgepodge of stuff. And you don't want all that stuff. So if I go over here, I don't want the kids clicking on assignments because they're going to just see this huge hodgepodge. It's sort of in an order that I've put it in, but it's not in an order they would use. Oh, there's so many, it's taking a while. But also the discussions aren't here. So you just look at this huge, huge, huge list. And you can see some are not published. I didn't end up using some of the assignments that I created the previous year. They just didn't work this year, right? I did make assignments for the live lessons, however, and I included in the live lesson assignment the link to the Google Meet and something that the kids were responsible for at the end of the lesson. So, and I did put those in with dates. What else?
I have a question.
Sure.
How do you send it out? So I've been working on a course, a module. And I'd sort of like to shop it around. I'd like for somebody to see and say, hey, what do you think?
So invite somebody to your course. So
how do you do that?
Okay, you go to people.
Now,
settings matter because I know, I don't know if Kristen's still here, but her district has locked down that people outside the district can't access the courses, or she can't access courses outside her district. So she can't get into my course here. Or maybe she did. I don't know. Kristen, are you still here? I don't know. But so
I'm just doing it in our district, Santa Ana. I'm just doing it within our district.
Oh, you can do that. Okay, you click people.
People. And
you literally add the person's email address. And what I would do is I would add them as a student. So I actually have one of my friends, Teresa, who's in this call. She's a student in my class. And so whenever I do something, like, Teresa, can you go in and look and see if this works? And she'll, oh, Andrea, this link's not working, or this looks funny, or, you know.
Yeah.
She'll tell me. So that really helps. You can also add a different email address for yourself as a student. But if you're going to do that, use a different device and go in with an incognito window. Otherwise, you know, it'll default to the wrong thing. It gets weird.
Okay.
So I find it's easier to have a friend be a student. Now, as a teacher, they do have different access. So if you're lucky to have a kid of your own, you know, make them a student or I was thinking I would ask a couple of my students from last year to, you know, be a participant in my course and just check it out and make sure everything works. I have a couple girls that were always finding my mistakes. So, you know, in the comments at the end of the year, one of the girls, you know, what could I do better next year? And she goes, not make so many mistakes. I'm like, I'm human, not going to happen, but thank you, you know. But yeah, but you can add, so, and you can see, I mean, all these people, and you can see, now you can see this one says Mary Carey observing. She's our AP. So APs and parents can all observe the kids. When you click on a kid, you can, that's not it, user details. So let me hide her name here. There we go. So, I did it. Anyway, I compare with Observer. So it gives me a code that I can give that parent. And the parent can now watch what their kid's doing and log in and see their kids' grades and the assignments and what's happening, which I really like. At the beginning of the year, I make that an assignment. For some reason, I didn't do it this year, I realized. But so it may look like you have 60 people in one class, and it's really just the parents that are, you know, observing. So other questions?
When the parents are observing, like they can actually be in real time with their kids submitting and they can always have access to their kids' stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yes, their kids' stuff. They can see the assignments.
Right.
They can see the grades. Someone told me they could not see comments, but then someone else said they could see comments. So I honestly don't know on that.
So when you put in a kid, like let's say you put in John Smith, your student, then you also find a parent's email like johnsmithsdad.com, whatever. And you connect those emails together by literally clicking that little code and sending it to his dad?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There is a way to generate, I think in settings, there might be a way to generate those codes. I'm going to have to look that up. I believe the kids can generate them too. And that's what I did last year because I wanted the kids aware of it. So I had them generate the codes and I walked around the room as they wrote the codes down and, on their little letter to their parents on their, on the syllabus I gave them at the beginning of the year, which obviously I'm not doing this year. So.
Right. And then does it show you, yes, John's dad has now LinkedIn, so you know which kids did and which kids didn't?
It does. However, talking with parents, most of the parents just logged in with the kids login, or they kid login and they looked. So it wasn't as helpful as it could be, except for the kids that were like lying to their parents.
Right.
So because they can change their grades, right? There's the what if grades, which I teach the kids how to do the what if grades. But I had a kid who was showing his parents the what if grades. And so I gave her the pairing code over the phone. So she was logging in regularly to see the truth, right? So there is that. But
Andrea, I think they need to accept an email invite too. Whoever you invite has to accept the invite.
Right. Well, and I don't usually email out the codes unless the parent asks me to. But I guess maybe this year I will do that. I think it'll be easier. I don't know. We'll see.
So for students that aren't going to be able to access it independently, my students' cognitive and physical abilities, their parents are going to be doing all the work. So better to have them go in using their student's email or?
Yes, definitely. Because the parents can, using that code, they cannot interact with the work. They can only observe it. So yeah, they're going to log in.
All right.
Are you the speech language person?
No, I'm a teacher.
You're a what? I'm sorry?
I am a teacher.
Okay, what do you teach?
My students are severe profound.
Oh, okay.
It is 7th and 8th grade, but with their cognitive level and the fact that physically most of them cannot, access the computer.
Right.
Yeah. We're new to Canvas this year. Our district wants everybody using the same platform. Whereas last year I just used the website when we went to distance learning and it worked fine. The parents loved it. So now I'm like, oh gosh, this is a little bit more complicated and it's not again the students interacting, it's the parents. So that's another caveat.
Well, let me show you the, oh shoot, I don't have that assignment. So, okay, a couple really great assignments I saw for our occupational therapists. One of the things that our occupational therapist was having in person do is having a student move the ball from hand to hand. Mm-hmm. So what she did is she recorded herself saying, take a ball, move it from hand to hand, do it 10 times and count 1. And then she demonstrated counting exactly. Then she had the kid use the record button in Canvas, record themselves doing it, right? And counting.
I was wondering about that, yeah, because that's the part that I'm trying to figure out for this year. Last year, we kept track of the IEP goals, obviously, but we really couldn't do accurate data because, again, you can't have the parents keeping track. Right. So we haven't heard this year. We still don't even know what we're doing in terms of going back. So that's a whole other. But if we do, obviously, we need to figure out if we are doing distance, what that looks like. And when you showed the record option, I wondered if that would work because, yeah, it's certainly looking at what they're looking at and what that would work. So perfect. Thank you.
And I've seen that in elementary really effectively as well. Oh, look, this has changed. Let's see. Because, you send home the little text and you want the kids to read it 5 times, right? Read it every night to your parents. How many times do they read it? Maybe once. But instead, here what you do is you have the text here. And I had a lesson. I don't know where it went. It was, okay, I'll show you a different lesson. But you just would put the text here. And then you would, okay, read this text and read, whatever. Okay. You get the idea. Read this text and record yourself. And then you would have the text there. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to record yourself reading it. So, you know, record. Start recording. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Then you're going to want to record a peer, a similar age peer who's fluent reading it. I don't know why, but studies show that that really, really helps when they listen to fluent peers read. And then for your submission type, you're going to do online media recordings. Okay. And then I will show you this from student view. It's taking a little while to, come on. There we go. Okay. So you've got your text, you've got me reading, you've got a fluent student peer. I'll fix this, but, oh, I didn't publish it. You got to publish it because if you don't publish, nobody can see it except you. Okay. Student view. And see now here, they only see the modules and their grades. It should be at the bottom here. Oops, where'd I put it? Any idea where I put it? What did I call it? Yeah. Okay, so I think I just added an assignment and I didn't put it in a module, is my guess, which means kids can't see it. No clue where I put it. All right, but here's one that was Spanish language.
Ahora bien, cuando no estás caminando por un parque aquí, mira, por ejemplo, si yo estoy caminando por un parque, yo miro unos árboles, unos pájaros.
You get the idea? And then the kids would click here, submit assignment. And down here, they have to record themselves. And then they would record themselves. Well, how many times do you think the kids are going to record themselves doing it? They're not going to submit their first recording where they've made mistakes or where they've dropped the ball or where they've mumbled, right? They're going to do it over and over and over again until they get it, what they think is perfect. So it's a great tool to get kids to practice fluency. So I'm actually going to use this with my sixth graders, my non-math sixth graders that I teach an exploratory class, just to help with fluency. Because even my non-English learners are still, right? They still need to work on fluency. So can you find the recording list, like everything you've recorded? Is that what you're talking about, Ladette? Okay, so yeah, let me leave student view. This is the one thing that's a little awkward in Canvas. You have a files list here. And they're not very organized. I don't think they're just kind of like everywhere. So you can create folders and you can organize these files. Okay. And I strongly encourage you to do that. You can also be careful of deleting files because I got a module from somebody else and I wasn't using the lessons. I was only using the quizzes that she made. And so I deleted a bunch of photos. It turns out she had the photos and the quizzes. I'm like, oops. And they were just decorative, but still. So I had all these missing pictures. So be careful deleting stuff out of here, but you can organize it better. Right now I've got 3 folders, but yeah. Other question. I don't know if the recordings are here. Yeah, it's here. It says uploaded media because I didn't name it, but you could name it. Oh, wait, there's a whole file of uploaded media. Hey, check it out. Oh, maybe. Oh, no, this is the new thing I uploaded today. Oh, well. Okay, so anyway, you can organize that. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, but I am happy to answer questions. I don't know how to stop recording, so give me a sec. All right, I'm going to stop recording. By the way, again, my name is Andrea Earle. My website is aearl@.weebly.com. Thanks for joining me.